I always thought love was my safe place. A wife who smiled every morning, a best friend who stood by me through everything, and a home that felt alive with laughter. I used to say, nothing can break what's real. I was wrong. That night, I came home early. The rain had started again, tapping against the car window like a warning. I carried dinner in one hand, thinking Clara would be happy. I wanted to surprise her. As I reached the door, I heard something. A laugh, soft, familiar, but it wasn't mine. Then a voice. A man's voice. "Don't worry," he said, low and confident. "He'll never know," Clara whispered back. "He trusts us both too much." My chest went tight. Liam's voice. My best friend. I froze there, hand still on the doorknob. My body refused to move. My brain kept saying it couldn't be true. Clara laughed again. "You're terrible, Liam," he replied. "Only for you." I dropped the food. The sound of plastic hitting the floor felt louder than thunder. They stopped talking. I stepped back quietly, heart pounding. I didn't want to see what I already knew. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message from Clara flashed. "Miss you, love. Come home soon." I almost laughed. Almost. I turned and walked away. I don't remember how long I drove. The streets blurred into lights and rain. Every memory stabbed me. Our wedding day, her promises, his toast, the way he called me brother. By midnight, I parked by the river. I sat there staring at the dark water, whispering to myself, "She betrayed me. He betrayed me. Both of them." My hands trembled on the wheel. My reflection in the window didn't look like me anymore. The next morning, I walked into the kitchen like nothing happened. Clara was making coffee, humming. When she saw me, she smiled. "Hey, you're up early." "Couldn't sleep," I said, keeping my tone flat. She handed me a cup. "Rough night at work?" "Yeah," I lied. She kissed my cheek. I didn't move. "You okay?" she asked, tilting her head. "I'm fine," I said, sipping coffee. It tasted bitter. Maybe it was me. Liam called around noon. "Ethan, you busy tonight?" Thinking we should grab a drink. I stared at his name flashing on my phone. My stomach turned. "Sure," I said. "Let's do that." At the bar, he greeted me with that same old grin. "Man, you look like hell." "Clara keeping you up too late?" I forced a laugh. "Something like that." He clinked his glass against mine. "Cheers to friendship." I looked at him. His confident smile, his relaxed posture. I'd known that face for 15 years, and now all I saw was a mask. "You ever think," I asked, "that sometimes people only pretend to care?" He shrugged. "Everyone's pretending about something." I stared into my drink. "Yeah," I said softly. "Some people are better at it than others." He didn't notice. Or maybe he did and didn't care. Later at home, Clara waited on the couch. "How was the bar?" "Good," I said, loosening my tie. "Liam's the same as always." She smiled faintly. "You two are like brothers." "Yeah," I said, walking past her. "Brothers." In the shower, the water burned against my skin, but I didn't move. I wanted it to wash away the noise in my head, the laughter, the whispers, the lies. But it only echoed louder. When I got out, Clara was asleep, her phone glowing beside her pillow. I stared at it for a long time. I wanted to open it, to read everything, to destroy the illusion completely, but I didn't. I already knew the truth. I whispered, "You don't deserve my pain." I turned off the light and lay beside her. She shifted, half asleep, murmuring, "Love you." I almost said it back. Old habits die slow, but silence was my answer. The next day at work, Mason, my colleague, leaned against my desk. "You look like someone stole your soul, man." I smirked faintly. "Maybe they did. Clara okay?" "She's perfect," I said. "Always perfect," he frowned. "You're lying." "Maybe," I admitted. He studied me. "Whatever's going on, don't let it eat you alive." Too late, I thought. That evening, Clara texted, "Dinner with Liam and Elena tomorrow?" He said, "You promised last week." I stared at the message for a long time, then typed back, "Sure, can't wait." That night, I sat alone in the dark living room. Every sound in the house felt wrong, the ticking clock, the creaking floor, even the wind outside. I whispered to the silence, "You two broke me without a word." Something inside me cracked, slow and quiet. I looked at our wedding photo on the wall, her in white, me smiling like a fool. I touched the frame, then turned it face down, no shouting. No confrontation. Just cold, still air. I realized I didn't need to scream to make them pay. Silence would be louder, and in that silence, something dark began to breathe inside me. Not hatred. Not rage. Something colder. Something that whispered, "They took your love. Give them your silence." And in that moment, the man I used to be started dying quietly in the dark. The night never ended for me. I just kept driving. The rain hit the windshield in sharp, rhythmic bursts, like the world was reminding me I was still alive. My reflection stared back from the rearview mirror, eyes red, hollow, unfamiliar. "Who are you?" I whispered to myself. "What did they turn you into?" I laughed bitterly. No answer came. Just the wipers slicing through the rain. By dawn, I parked outside the house. I didn't want to go in. I didn't want to see her pretending. But I did. Clara was in the kitchen, humming again. "Same song as last night." "Morning," she said cheerfully. "You came in late. Work okay?" "Yeah," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. "Just a long night," she kissed my cheek. "You smell like rain." "I was driving." "Driving where?" "Nowhere," she laughed softly. "You're weird sometimes." "I guess I am." She poured coffee, smiling like nothing was broken. "Liam called earlier," she said casually. My fingers tightened around the cup. "Did he?" "Yeah, said you left early from the bar. He wanted to make sure you got home safe." I stared at her. He's always thoughtful. She didn't notice the edge in my voice. "You should text him." "He worries." "I will," I said, setting the cup down. "Later." She looked at me for a second. "You okay, Ethan? You look tired." "I'm fine." She touched my hand. "Promise?" I forced a smile. "Promise." When she left for work, I sat alone at the table. The silence pressed against me like weight. I could still hear her laughter from last night, echoing in my skull. My phone buzzed. Mason. "Hey, man," he said when I answered. "You sound dead." "You sick?" "Just tired." "You sure?" "You've been off lately." "I'm fine, Mason," he sighed. "You always say that." "Something wrong with Clara?" I hesitated. "No, she's perfect." "That's what scares me," he muttered. "Perfect doesn't exist." I looked out the window. "Yeah, I know that now." "You want to grab lunch?" "Get out of your head?" "Can't. Got work. Suit yourself." "But talk to someone, man. You sound like you're breaking." "Maybe I am," I said quietly, then hung up. Later, I sat in my office, staring at blueprints that didn't make sense anymore. The lines blurred together, like my life. My phone buzzed again. "Clara. Dinner with Liam and Elena tonight?" "Don't bail," my stomach turned. I typed back, "Sure, can't wait." At 6, we arrived at the restaurant. Liam stood when he saw us. "Ethan, Clara! Over here!" He hugged me. His cologne hit me like poison. "Good to see you, brother." "Always," I said, sitting across from him. Elena smiled politely beside him, quiet, graceful. Her eyes lingered on Liam with sadness I didn't understand yet. Clara laughed. "You two should stop working so much." "You look exhausted," Liam smirked. "Your husband's a machine." "I can't keep up," I replied. "You try hard, though." "I'll give you that," he chuckled. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing," I said, sipping water. "Just an observation." Clara frowned. "You sound off tonight, Ethan." "Do I?" Elena spoke softly. "Maybe he's just tired." I looked at her. For a second, our eyes met. There was understanding there, something unspoken. Liam leaned closer. "So, big project coming up, right?" "Heard the client wants you to lead it." "I did," I said. "You heard right. Congrats, man." "You deserve it." "Thanks," Clara smiled proudly. "He's been working so hard lately." Liam's gaze flickered toward her, then back to me. "I bet," my jaw tightened. "You'd know." He froze for a split second, then laughed it off. "You okay, Ethan?" "Never better," I said. The rest of dinner was quiet. Clara filled the silence with stories that meant nothing. Elena barely spoke. I could feel the distance between words, the tension under every smile. When we left, Liam slapped my shoulder. "You're acting weird, man." "Something bothering you?" "Not at all," I said. "Just learning to see things clearly," he grinned. "See what?" "The cracks," I said, stepping into the rain. "They're everywhere." At home, Clara asked, "What's wrong with you tonight?" "Nothing." You barely talked, neither did you, she sighed. You're impossible sometimes. Maybe, I said, walking past her. Maybe that's what makes me human. She followed me into the hallway. Ethan, talk to me. I don't feel like talking. Why? Did I do something? I looked at her, at the face I once loved without doubt. I don't know yet, I said softly, but I'll figure it out. Her voice trembled. You're scaring me. I'm just tired, I lied again. That's all. She didn't believe me, but she didn't press. She turned away, muttering, You've changed. I know, I whispered when she couldn't hear. Later that night, I stood before the mirror. The man staring back wasn't me. His eyes were cold, unreadable. I asked, When did you stop being the good guy? The reflection didn't answer. I touched the glass, feeling the chill. Maybe good guys die first. Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, I smiled for the first time since it happened. Not because I was happy, but because I finally stopped pretending. Tomorrow, I'd wake up and play the part of the loving husband again. But tonight, silence was enough. Silence, and the promise of something darker waking inside me. I used to think silence was weakness. Now I realize silence is power. People reveal everything when they believe you're too broken to listen. Claire has been careless lately. She checks her phone when she thinks I'm not watching. The corner of her mouth lifts, soft, secretive. I count the seconds between her smiles and her replies. 5, 10, 15. Always the same rhythm. I know who's on the other end, who's texting. I ask one evening. She flinches, then laughs. Just Harper. She's gossiping again, I nod. You sure it's not Liam? Her smile stiffens. Why would Liam text me? Why wouldn't he? She sets her phone down. You're acting strange lately, am I? Yes, you're colder. I'm just learning, I say softly. Learning what? How people lie with confidence. She stares at me, trying to read my tone, then forces a laugh. You're paranoid. Maybe. When she leaves the room, I whisper, Maybe I'm not. At work, Mason drops a file on my desk. You missed the meeting again. I was busy thinking, I reply. Thinking about what? About truth, he sighs. Still won't tell me what's wrong? I look up. If someone betrayed you, would you confront them? Depends who. Someone close. He narrows his eyes. Clara? I don't answer. Jesus, Ethan, he mutters. You serious? I don't know yet, I lie. But I need proof. You want me to help? Yes, he leans closer. Help how? I want to know where she goes. When, with whom. He shakes his head. Man, that's dark. I need to see the truth, I say quietly. If I don't, I'll lose my mind. He sighs again. You're my friend, so I'll help. But I don't like it. I don't like it either, I say. But liking isn't part of this anymore. The next few days, Mason follows them discreetly. He sends me pictures. Clara meeting Liam at a quiet cafe, laughing, touching his hand across the table. My chest feels like glass cracking with every image, but I don't look away. At night, I lie awake, staring at the ceiling. My mind replays every smile, every lie, every I love you she ever said. If love can die, I whisper, so can mercy. Something in me shifts, quiet but irreversible. The next morning, Mason corners me in the parking lot. You saw the photos? I did, and they were useful. Useful? He snaps. You look dead inside, Ethan. What are you planning? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. He grips my shoulder. Don't do anything stupid. I already did, I say. I believed in them. At home, Clara greets me with a smile too polished to be real. Rough day? Not rough, I answer. Just revealing. Revealing how? I realize something important. She tilts her head. What's that? Everyone wears masks. Some fit better than others, she frowns. You're being weird again. I'm just being honest. She rolls her eyes. You used to be fun. I used to be blind. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing you'd understand, I say, walking away. She follows. You're scaring me lately. Good, I whisper. Maybe fear will make you honest. What? Nothing, I say louder. Go to bed. When she's gone, I open my laptop. Emails, messages, call logs. I start gathering everything. I don't want revenge through violence or shouting. I want precision. I want them to feel the slow collapse I felt. I find ways to connect threads. Clara's involvement in Liam's projects, money transfers, meetings that align too perfectly. The picture builds itself piece by piece. Days turn into weeks. My silence becomes routine. Clara thinks I've grown distant because of work. Liam thinks I'm just tired. They have no idea the quiet is sharpening me. One afternoon, Mason storms into my office. "You've changed, man. You don't even talk anymore." "I talk when it matters. Does destroying them matter that much?" I meet his eyes. "It's not about destroying. It's about balance," he groans. "You sound insane." "Maybe sanity's overrated." He slams a hand on my desk. "What's your endgame?" "When they look in the mirror," I say, "I want them to see what they made." He studies me for a long time. "You're scaring me too." "Good," I reply. That night, Clara sits beside me on the couch. "You're so distant, Ethan. Talk to me." "About what?" "About us." "There is no us," I murmur. "Just you and your lies." Her face pales. "What did you say?" "I said I'm tired." "Tired of me?" "Yes." She stands, tears forming. "You're being cruel." I look at her calmly. "Cruel would be telling the truth." She stares, trembling. "You're not the man I married." "No," I say softly. "He died the night you killed his trust," she gasps. "What are you talking about?" "Nothing," I answer. "Go to bed, Clara." She storms off, slamming the door. I listen to her cry behind it. The sound doesn't move me. Later, I walk to the window and stare into the darkness. My reflection stares back, colder, harder. The monster isn't someone else. "It's me," I whisper. "You wanted loyalty. You got obsession. You wanted silence. You got calculation. You wanted love. You buried it." The rain starts again outside, same as the night everything fell apart. This time, I don't look away. The ballroom smelled like champagne and polished lies. I didn't want to be there, but Clara insisted. "We have to keep appearances," she'd said. The irony almost made me laugh. I stood near the corner, glass in hand, pretending to listen to the speeches. That's when I saw her, Elena Cross, Liam's wife. She was beautiful, but not the way Clara was. Elena's beauty had edges, quiet, fragile, tired. She caught me staring and smiled, the kind of smile that hides bruises you can't see. "Ethan, right?" she said, walking toward me. "Yeah," I replied. "You're Elena." "Liam talks about you," she said. "A lot." "I'm sure he does." Her lips twitched. "He says you've been distant lately." "I wonder why." "I could guess," she murmured. I raised an eyebrow. "Could you?" "Men who drink alone at charity events usually have something broken," she said. I smirked. "And women who notice them? Usually share the same cracks." Her honesty hit harder than it should have. "Then I guess we're both cracked." "Seems that way." We stood in silence for a moment, watching the glittering crowd pretend their lives were perfect. Then she said softly, "You hate being here, don't you?" "I do." "Me too," I chuckled. "Then why are you here?" "Because Liam needs people to see us together." "Appearances," I said. She nodded. "You too?" "Yeah, Clara doesn't like questions." Her eyes flickered. "So it's not just me." I turned to face her fully. "Not just you." For a while, we just talked. Safe topics, meaningless chatter that hid everything real. But beneath every word was understanding. No pretenses. No lies. When the music started, she asked, "Do you dance?" "Not with strangers." "Then maybe I shouldn't be one." Something in her tone made my chest tighten. I offered my hand. One dance. Her fingers were cold, delicate. The band played something slow, almost mournful. She whispered, "He's been different lately. Liam." I kept my eyes on hers. "Different how?" "Distant, secretive. He leaves early, comes home late. Smells like guilt." I swallowed. "Maybe he's just busy." She gave a hollow laugh. "You don't believe that any more than I do." "No," I admitted. Her gaze softened. "You know something, don't you?" "Maybe." "Tell me." "I can't." "You mean you won't?" "Yes." She studied me. "You're protecting him?" "I'm protecting what little is left of myself." "That's not protection," she said quietly. "That's slow bleeding." Her words lingered like smoke. I didn't answer. After the song ended, we stepped off the dance floor. Clara was across the room, laughing too loudly with donors. Liam stood beside her, his hand too close to her back. Elena followed my gaze. "It's them, isn't it?" I froze. She smiled sadly. "You don't have to answer." I see the way she looks at him. The way he pretends not to look back. My voice was low. "How long have you known?" "I didn't know." I felt it. "Feelings enough?" I said. She nodded. I kept telling myself I was paranoid. So did I. We moved toward the terrace, away from the noise. Outside, the air was cold and mercifully honest. She leaned on the railing. "You ever wonder why we let them do this to us?" "All the time." "Then why stay?" "Habit, fear, stupidity. Take your pick." She smiled faintly. "I stayed because I thought love could fix anything. And now? Now I think love just hides the cracks until it can't anymore." I looked at her. Really looked. The sadness in her eyes was a mirror of mine. "I used to believe in forgiveness," I said. "And now? I believe in silence. That's not living." "No," I said. "It's surviving," she exhaled slowly. "We both married ghosts, didn't we?" The words pierced straight through me. "Yeah, ghosts wearing our favorite faces." We stayed there for a while, saying nothing. The sounds of laughter drifted from inside, muffled and hollow. Finally, she spoke again. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. Revenge? Something quieter? Justice? Maybe peace. Does peace exist after betrayal?" she asked. "Maybe between people who understand it." Her eyes met mine. For the first time in months, I felt seen. Not pitied, not judged, understood. "You're not like him," she said softly. "I used to be," I admitted. "Before all this. You're still holding on to something good." "Maybe you are too," I said. She smiled faintly. "Maybe. Or maybe we're both just trying to find what's left." The cold wind tugged at her hair. I reached out without thinking and brushed a strand from her face. She didn't pull away. "Elena," I whispered. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you needed someone to say it out loud." "And you?" She looked down. "Because I needed someone to listen." For a long moment, we just stood there. Two broken people in borrowed elegance, clinging to the only truth that didn't hurt. Then she said quietly, "If they're already gone, maybe we should stop pretending to chase them." "I'm not chasing anymore," I said. "I'm watching them dig their own graves." Her expression didn't change, but her voice did. "That's not peace, Ethan." "I'm not sure I want peace." "Then what do you want?" I thought for a moment. "Clarity. And what happens after that?" "I don't know. Maybe I disappear," she smiled sadly. "Don't! You're the only one here who still feels real." The doors behind us opened. Laughter spilled out, Clara's bright and sharp. Liam followed, his hand brushing her arm as if claiming what was never his. Elena turned toward me. "Guess the ghosts found each other." "Yeah," I said bitterly. "They deserve each other." Her eyes glistened, but she smiled. "Maybe we do too, just for different reasons." "Maybe," I whispered. She straightened. "I should go before I say something unforgivable." "Too late for that," I murmured. She laughed softly, then met my gaze one last time. "If you ever want to talk without pretending, find me." "I will." As she walked away, the world felt a little less hollow and a little more dangerous. For the first time since the betrayal, I didn't feel alone. I felt awake. Revenge isn't fire. It's ice, slow, deliberate, quiet. It burns colder the longer you hold it. I started small. A few whispers here, a few subtle truths there. Nothing direct, nothing loud. Just enough to make people wonder about Liam. At the office, I leaned over to Mason. "Did you hear what Liam did at the client meeting?" He frowned. "No, what?" I smiled faintly. "Promised results he can't deliver, again." Mason's brows shot up. "You're serious?" "Would I lie?" He hesitated. "No." "But why tell me?" "Because you're the only one who listens." He stared at me for a moment. "You're playing with fire, man." "I'm sculpting it." He shook his head. "You're different lately." I finally stopped pretending. Later that day, I left a few anonymous notes where the higher-ups would find them, facts wrapped in suggestion, just enough truth to make them believable. By evening, whispers filled the hallways like smoke. That night, Clara came home late again. I was waiting. "Long day?" I asked. She froze, then smiled too quickly. "Yeah, meetings ran over." With Liam? She blinked. What? I shrugged. You said meetings, her tone sharpened. Don't start. I'm just asking. Well, stop asking, she snapped, heading to the kitchen. I followed. You've changed, Clara, she sighed. We're both tired, Ethan. Tired people don't lie this well. She spun around. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I said. Just an observation. She glared at me, then forced a laugh. You sound paranoid. Maybe. Then get help. Her words landed like small cuts. She turned away, pouring herself a drink, not realizing every move she made felt rehearsed. I didn't argue. Silence was sharper. Silence made her nervous. The next day, Liam's department got hit with a surprise audit. I didn't start it, but I might have fed it. A quiet suggestion to the right ear, a file forwarded anonymously. Nothing illegal. Just poetic. Mason cornered me at lunch. You're behind this, aren't you? I smiled. Behind what? Come on, man. The rumors, the audit, Liam's panicking. This isn't coincidence. I leaned closer. You ever watch a man choke on his own arrogance? Jesus, Ethan, he whispered. This isn't you. Maybe this is the real me. He looked away. You sound proud. Not proud, I said. Balanced, he shook his head. There's no balance in revenge. There's no peace in forgiveness. That night, I sat alone, staring at the reflection in my glass. I barely recognized the man looking back. My smile was too calm, my eyes too empty. Then my phone buzzed. Elena. Her message was short. We need to talk. We met at a small cafe away from the city. She looked pale, angry, beautiful in a way sadness makes people beautiful. She didn't waste time. You're doing this, aren't you? I met her eyes. Doing what? Don't lie to me, Ethan. Liam's drowning at work. Clara's breaking under whispers. You think I wouldn't notice? I leaned back. Maybe it's karma catching up. Her voice trembled. This isn't karma. It's you. I didn't deny it. So what if it is? She shook her head. You think destroying them will heal you? I stared into my coffee. It's not healing I want. It's balance. Balance? She repeated. You call this balance? Yes. Elena, I said softly. They took everything. My trust, my peace, my sense of worth. I'm just taking back what's mine. And what's that? She demanded. Their pain? The truth, I said. I'm giving it a voice. She leaned forward. At what cost? I stopped counting costs the night I heard them together. Her expression softened, then hardened again. You're not punishing them anymore, Ethan. You're punishing yourself. I'm fine. You're not, she said firmly. You think I don't recognize it? I've lived next to that same emptiness for years. It doesn't end where you think it will. I laughed quietly. You sound like you care. I do, she whispered. That's the problem. Her words hit something I didn't want to feel. I looked away. You shouldn't. I can't help it, she said. You're becoming what hurt you. Maybe that's the point. She reached across the table, touching my hand lightly. No, the point was to survive it, not to become it. For a moment I wanted to believe her, but I pulled my hand back. You don't understand. I understand more than you think, she said. Liam's my husband. I've imagined ruining him 1,000 times, but every time I did, I realized I'd still be chained to him through hate. I'm already chained, I said. Might as well pull them down with me. Her eyes shimmered. And when they're gone, who's left? Me, I said simply. No, she whispered. Just the monster they made. I didn't answer. The silence between us said everything. She stood slowly. You can still stop. I won't. Her voice broke. Then I can't watch you do this. I never asked you to. She looked at me one last time. You didn't have to. I already care. She turned and walked out, her reflection fading in the rain-soaked glass. I watched her leave, knowing something inside me left with her. Back in my car, I sat for a long time, watching the rain blur the streetlights. Her words echoed, "You're becoming what hurt you." Maybe she was right. Maybe I didn't care anymore. When I finally drove home, the city felt smaller, tighter, like a cage closing in. I parked outside the house but didn't go in. Through the window, I saw Clara laughing on the phone, her voice warm, rehearsed, fake. I whispered to myself, if love can die, mercy can too. The storm inside me was calm now, too calm. That's when I realized peace doesn't come from forgiveness or revenge, it comes from silence, and silence was all I had left. By the time the first headline dropped, I didn't feel satisfaction, only silence. Executive scandal at Weston Corp. Insider leak exposes misconduct. Liam's name was all over it. His arrogance finally found daylight. Mason called me early that morning. "You seeing this?" "I am." "Jesus, Ethan, this is ugly. They're investigating him. Clients are pulling out." I stared at the screen, watching Liam's perfect smile dissolve under the weight of truth. "Couldn't have happened to a better man." Mason sighed. "You don't sound happy." "I'm not sure I remember what happy feels like." He hesitated. "You did this, didn't you?" I didn't answer. Silence was enough. By noon, Clara's phone wouldn't stop ringing. She paced the living room, trembling. "They're calling me about Liam's scandal. Why would they ask me anything?" I shrugged. "Maybe because your names show up together. A lot." She froze. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying people talk." "About what?" "About what you gave him to get him ahead." Her voice cracked. "You're lying." "Am I?" I met her eyes. "You tell me." She slammed her phone down. "You're enjoying this." "I thought I would," I said quietly. "Turns out I'm not." She laughed bitterly. "You're pathetic, Ethan. You always needed someone else to feel strong." I didn't respond. She was breaking herself faster than I ever could. By evening, the affair rumors had gone public. Screenshots, emails, photos. They spread like wildfire. Liam called me. His voice was frantic. "Ethan, you have to help me, please. You know me. You know this isn't what it looks like." "Actually," I said, "it looks exactly how it sounded that night." He went silent. "You heard?" Every word. Jesus Christ. I almost pitied him. Almost. "How's Clara holding up?" "She's blaming me for everything," he said. "You know how she is." "I do." He sighed. "You don't understand, man. It just happened." "It just happened," I repeated slowly. "That's what people say before they ruin lives." He groaned. "You don't know what it's like, Ethan." "I know exactly what it's like," I said, "and I hope you choke on it." I hung up before he could answer. Later that night, I met Elena. She'd seen the news too. "You did this," she said softly. "I gave truth a microphone," I said. She sighed. "And what did it cost you?" "Nothing," I lied. She sat across from me, her voice low. "You think this is over?" "It's over for them." "No, Ethan. It's never over for people like us. We keep bleeding long after the war ends." I looked away. "Then maybe bleeding's the only thing that reminds me I'm still alive." She reached for my hand. "You don't mean that." "I do." Her eyes searched mine. "You wanted justice. Now you have ruins. Look at you, you're still empty." I didn't argue. I couldn't. We sat there in silence. The cafe around us hummed with life we no longer felt part of. Finally, she whispered, "He begged me to stay today. Said we could start over." "What did you say?" "I told him ghosts can't start over." I smiled faintly. "That's poetic." "It's tragic," she said. "He cried, Ethan. I didn't feel sorry. That scared me." "Don't be," I said. "That's clarity." She shook her head. "No, that's numbness. You can't build a life out of numbness." Her words cut deeper than I expected. When we left the cafe, rain had started falling again. We walked without speaking, just listening to the rhythm against the pavement. Halfway down the street, she stopped. "Do you feel it?" "What?" "The silence," she said. "It's different now. It's heavier." I nodded. "It's the sound of aftermath." She turned toward me. "And now what?" "I don't know." She hesitated, then said softly, "Let's stop before we lose ourselves too." The words hung in the air like a plea I didn't know how to answer. "Elena, no," she said firmly. "Don't say my name like that. I'm not your redemption. I never asked you to be, but you're making me one." I stared at her, the streetlight reflecting off her wet hair. "You're the only thing that still feels real." She looked away. "Then we're both in trouble." I took a breath. "If I stop now, what's left of me?" "The part that can still feel guilt," she said. "The part that can still love." Her voice trembled on that last word. "I don't know if I can," I whispered. "Then let me remind you," she said. Before I could speak, she leaned in and kissed me, soft, uncertain, desperate. For a moment, the world stopped. When she pulled away, her eyes glistened. "That's what being alive feels like." I didn't move. I couldn't. "Why do you care?" "Because I see you becoming him," she said. "And I can't lose another person to hate." I looked at her, the storm in her eyes reflecting my own. "You already lost him. Don't make me lose you too." Her voice broke, and something inside me cracked with it. I whispered, "Maybe it's too late." She shook her head. "No, not if you stop now." "I don't know how." "Then let me help you." Her hand tightened around mine. "You can't rebuild from ashes, Ethan. You have to walk away from them." For the first time in months, I felt something other than rage. Fear. Not of losing her, but of what I'd become without realizing it. I whispered, "What if I don't deserve to stop?" She smiled sadly. "Then stop anyway. Do it for the part of you that still remembers who you were." The rain softened to a drizzle. She stood close, her forehead resting against mine. "Let it end here," she murmured. "Before it ends you." I didn't answer. I just closed my eyes and let her words sink into the hollow places where guilt had built its home. And for the first time since that night, I didn't feel like a monster, just a man, standing in the ruins of what used to be love. I wasn't expecting the knock. It was slow, hesitant, like guilt trying to find a voice. When I opened the door, Clara stood there drenched from the rain, her mascara smudged into dark stains. She looked nothing like the woman who'd once torn my heart apart. "Ethan," she whispered. I didn't answer. She clutched her coat tighter. "Please, can I come in?" I stepped aside silently. The house felt colder with her inside. She stared at the floor. "Liam's gone." "I know," I said. "He left me," she continued, her voice trembling. "He said I ruined his life." I gave a dry laugh. "That's one thing we agree on." Her eyes filled with tears. "I made a mistake." "You made a choice," I said flatly. She looked up, her lips shaking. "Ethan, please. I don't expect you to love me again. I just need you to understand I never meant to destroy you." I took a breath. "You didn't destroy me. You just showed me who I really was when everything broke." Her tears spilled. I thought I wanted something more. Something exciting. But all I found was emptiness. I met her gaze. "That's what betrayal feels like from the other side." She stepped closer. "I can't sleep. I see your face every night. I keep hearing your voice saying my name like it mattered. Did it?" I asked quietly. "Yes," she said. God, yes. I was stupid. I wanted to feel wanted, and Liam made me feel that way. But it was never love, it was punishment. For what? For not being enough for you, she whispered. I laughed bitterly. You were always enough, Clara. You just didn't see it. And I was too blind to make you feel it. She reached out, but I stepped back. Don't, I said. Not now. I'm not asking for another chance, she said quickly. I just need to say I'm sorry. You already said that, I murmured. The night you walked out, your silence said everything. She covered her face. I deserve this. Yeah, I said. You do. Her shoulders shook as she cried, the sound small and broken. For a moment, I almost reached for her, then stopped. I made a mistake, she whispered again. So did I said, my voice low. By trusting you. She froze. I walked to the door and opened it. Goodbye, Clara. She stared at me, tears running freely. You really hate me, don't you? I shook my head. No, I just don't love you anymore. She let out a sound somewhere between a sob and a sigh. Then she stepped out into the rain without another word. The door clicked shut behind her, and I stood there listening to the sound fade. For the first time, the silence didn't hurt. Hours passed before another knock came, softer this time, almost gentle. When I opened the door, Elena stood there, hood pulled over her hair, eyes calm, no storm in them. You look like you've been through a war, she said quietly. I think I buried one, I replied. She gave a faint smile. Can I come in? I nodded. She stepped inside and glanced around. It's quiet here. It's finally supposed to be. She looked at me. Clara was here. I didn't ask how she knew. She needed closure. And you? I exhaled. I needed to let her have it. Elena nodded slowly. That's not easy. Neither was holding on, I said. She walked to the window, looking out at the rain. You did what you came to do, Ethan. You got justice. I shook my head. No, I got emptiness disguised as victory. But tonight, something feels different. She turned toward me. Different how? Like the weight's not mine anymore. Her lips curved softly. That's what letting go feels like. For a while, neither of us spoke. The rain outside slowed, each drop softer than the last. She came closer, her hand brushing mine. You don't have to explain anything tonight, she said. You don't have to be angry or broken or strong. Just be here, I swallowed. I don't remember how. Then let's start small, she whispered. Sit with me. We sat on the couch, no words. Just the quiet sound of the storm fading beyond the walls. Her hand found mine again, fingers warm. Steady. You're trembling, she said. I don't know why. Because peace feels foreign after pain, she murmured. I looked at her. You always know what to say, she smiled faintly. That's because I've been where you are. I turned toward her. And where does it end? She met my eyes. When you forgive yourself. The words settled deep. I exhaled slowly. I thought revenge would fix me. It never does, she said softly. It just teaches you what you lost along the way. And what did I lose? Yourself, I stared at her. And if I want him back? She squeezed my hand. Then stop fighting ghosts. The air between us felt fragile but warm. Liam destroyed us both, I said quietly. No, she said. He exposed the cracks we already had. You just chose to fill yours with anger. I chose to hide mine behind silence. I nodded slowly. And now? Now we build something new, out of what's left. She smiled. Out of what survived. Her thumb brushed against my palm. My heart slowed for the first time in months. I said, It feels strange. This peace. It's not peace, she whispered. It's you breathing again. I looked at her. What if I break it? Then I'll remind you how to fix it. The lamplight softened around us. She leaned her head against my shoulder, and for once I didn't flinch. We didn't talk about Clara, or Liam, or the past. We just sat there, the quiet between us speaking louder than any confession. Her breath was steady. Mine finally matched it. I realized then, it wasn't victory that healed me. It was presence. I turned slightly toward her. Elena? Thank you. For what? For not running. She smiled against my shoulder. I almost did. What stopped you? You, she said softly. The way you kept trying to feel when it would have been easier to stay numb. I closed my eyes. I'm still learning. Good, she whispered. So am I. The rain stopped completely. The world went still. For the first time, I didn't feel broken. Just human. And in that fragile silence, with her hand in mine, I finally understood. Some love doesn't come to save you. It comes to remind you you're still worth saving. The days stopped counting themselves. Months passed quietly, folding into each other like waves smoothing sand. Clara left the city. Liam vanished from every corner of the industry he once owned. I didn't chase either of them. I had no reason to. Elena and I built something simple. Morning coffee, quiet laughter, the kind of peace that doesn't demand proof. But sometimes when the nights stretch long, I still think about the man I was before everything burned. One evening, she found me outside on the porch, staring at the fading horizon. You're thinking again, she said softly. I never stopped, I replied. She smiled faintly. That's your curse. And yours? Believing you'll ever stop, I chuckled. You always win these. I don't play to win, she said, sitting beside me. I play to understand. We watched the sky trade its gold for bruised purple. She glanced at me. Do you miss them? Clara? I asked. All of it, I exhaled slowly. Sometimes I miss who I thought I was with her. The man who believed love was easy, that loyalty was enough. She nodded. And now? Now I know love isn't easy. It's work. It's scars that still ache when it rains. Her voice softened. And do you regret what you did? Some of it, I said honestly. Not the revenge itself, but how much of myself I lost trying to prove I could survive. She tilted her head. And did you survive? I looked at her. Barely. But I'm still here. Her hand brushed mine. That's enough. For a while, neither of us spoke. The wind moved through the trees, gentle and forgiving. I saw Clara, Elena said suddenly. My head turned. When? Last week. At a bookstore downtown. She looked small, tired, like someone still living in the echo of her own mistakes. I nodded slowly. Did she see you? She did, Elena said. She smiled. A real one. And she said, tell him I'm glad he found peace. I swallowed. Peace. She meant it, Ethan. I know, I said quietly. Maybe we all deserve to start over. Elena studied me. Do you forgive her? I don't know if I need to, I said. Forgiveness feels irrelevant now. It's like forgiving the rain for being wet. It happened. I lived through it, she smiled softly. That sounds like forgiveness to me. I leaned back, closing my eyes. Maybe. Or maybe it's just letting go of the rope I kept pulling against. Elena's fingers traced circles on my wrist. You talk like a man who's learned to live with ghosts. I opened my eyes. Maybe I just stopped trying to kill them, she laughed quietly. Progress. A pause stretched between us, comfortable, not empty. I said, do you ever think about Liam? Her jaw tightened. Sometimes. He's a scar, not a wound anymore. I don't wish him pain. I just hope he finally sees the cost of what he wanted. And what did he want? Control, she said simply. Some men confuse love with power, I nodded. And some of us confuse revenge with healing. She gave me that knowing look. And which one are you now? Neither, I said. I think I'm just learning to be, she smiled. Then maybe that's the real victory. We went quiet again, the sun dipping below the trees. After a while, she said, when I first met you, you looked like someone ready to disappear. I was, I admitted, but you didn't let me. You were too stubborn to vanish completely. Or maybe you were too patient to walk away. She smiled faintly. We both survived our ghosts, Ethan. That has to mean something. It does, I said. It means we earned this peace. Her eyes softened. Do you believe in love again? I hesitated, then nodded. Not the kind that promises forever. Just the kind that stays, even when it hurts. The kind that listens, she leaned closer. Then I'll keep listening. I looked at her hand resting on mine, the faint scar along her knuckle from when she dropped a glass weeks ago. Small, imperfect, like both of us. I used to think love was a mirror, I said. That it showed you your best self. And now? She asked. Now I think love is more like fire. It burns away what doesn't belong. Sometimes it hurts, but what's left is real. She smiled. You sound wiser than before. Age, pain, and therapy, I said with a half smile. She laughed softly. Mostly pain, I think. Mostly, I agreed. The porch light flickered as darkness settled. I watched her face in the glow, strong, kind, honest. Elena, I said quietly. Yes? Thank you. For what? For showing me I wasn't the monster I thought I'd become. She tilted her head. You never were. You were just hurt. There's a difference. I didn't see it back then. You weren't supposed to, she said. Pain isn't meant to make sense until it's over. I smiled faintly. Then maybe it finally is. She leaned her head against my shoulder. Good, because I like this version of you. The calm one? The honest one. The crickets started their soft chorus. I watched the stars appear one by one, small reminders that even after dark, light insists on returning. Elena? I asked, Do you ever think about what comes next? She lifted her head slightly. What do you mean? After all this, after rebuilding, she thought for a moment. Maybe we stop measuring next. Maybe we just live now, I nodded slowly. That sounds right, she smiled. You finally sound like someone who believes that. I turned to her. Because for once I do, silence again, gentle, final. The kind that doesn't need filling. I thought of everything. Clara's tears, Liam's betrayal, my rage, my fall, my rebirth. And somewhere in that wreckage I found something unexpected. Myself. Elena reached for my hand. You okay? I smiled. For the first time in a long time, she squeezed it lightly. Then it was worth it. Maybe, I said. Or maybe it was just necessary. The night grew still, the world breathing softly around us. I looked out into the dark horizon, my voice barely a whisper. Maybe the monsters we fear are just the wounded parts of us waiting to be understood.